Hello, soil lovers. Regen Ray here from Farming Secrets and the Soil Learning Center. Coming to you live. I haven't done one of these for a long time, and I don't even know if all the tech's going to work, so this is a bit of a tester. But what I want to start doing is these weekly recaps that have happened in the Regen space this week. So let me just quickly check my other platform to see if it's going live. Where's it going live? Maybe this isn't working yet. Okay, maybe it is live and you've just watched me staring at a screen for a couple of minutes. But anyway, the show must go on. I'll grab the recording if the live stream fails. All right, so here we are. So this week has been very, very interesting in the world of Regen. The first thing I wanted to talk about is the amazing work that Matt Powers is doing to create a crowdsourced database of microscope data collectors from all around the world. And the link will be around the video. It's one of the first ones in the links. And he's basically got a Kickstarter. I'm going to show you this Kickstarter because I think it's really, really timely. And I think it's really important because what's happening is that a lot of research is happening behind closed doors. And no one's talking and no one's sharing. And I think that we live in a world now where community comes together and the share economy, the ability to create content or collect data and put it onto a database is really, really exciting. It's called the RSoil database, and it's going to be a space where people can upload their information to. And the benefit, he's writing a book, which is like the second part of a trilogy. The first one was all about regenerative. This one's about the microscope and, you know, this new way of collecting information that he's kind of like groundbreaking the research on. And then there's also his third book as well, but it's all listed on the Kickstarter page. So I might share the screen so then that way we can look at this together. Wrong tab. So that's what's coming up soon. That was a little teaser for you. But he has already funded, like in the US kind of currency, his goal was to raise $25,000 and it's already at $56,000. So that in itself shows how excited the microscope and the regenerative community are in regards to getting behind this. He's already doubled. And I think that, you know, with 50 plus hours to go, the next 2 days, the tail end of the campaign, we could probably see this triple. And I'm really excited. I hung out on the webinar this morning that he did. Go to the link, watch this 10-minute video. He'll explain a lot more about what he's doing and what he's up to. And the way that Kickstarter works is you get to pick which pledge level you'd like to partake in. So if you just love his idea and think, you know, Matt is a top bloke and he loves microscope and the work he's doing for soil, then you can just go and give him a $10 reward and you'll get nothing out of it apart from a feel-good moment. But then there's other pledges where it's, you know, $20 US. Now be mindful that these are in US and it gives you the conversion just underneath. So it doesn't let you when you hover over, which is annoying. But, you know, this one's about 30, this one's about 67 in AU. This one here is probably a great entry level because you get 1 year access to the RSoil database. So this is, you know, from what I understand, it's free to contribute information to it. But if you want to look at all the dots of what people have been creating and look at the research, I think this is going to be really awesome because it's going to create collaboration for the first time in this space where people can upload, you know, thousands of data samples and then the community can vote things up and vote things down and we can crowdsource the ideas and the interpretation and we can bring many minds together. And it just blows my mind because my love for decentralization and, you know, future communities and being connected, bringing the biodiversity of people and skills together. You know, someone who's, you know, a very keen microscope person in their bedroom that's probably breaking through more research data than paid labs can now finally upload their research and their data. And I think this is going to fast track the world of, what's happening with biology in our soil and under our feet. So this is definitely a Kickstarter. I think Kickstarter themselves listed this as a project we love. And, so I think that's really awesome as well, because it stands out and it's moving civilization forward when we get to understand soil biology, the way that plants and some of the stuff that Matt's been able to do on his microscope and look at, roots that have never been seen before by putting light through them and all these little dyes. And they're not even dyes, they're like these fluorescent compounds that he's putting that are super cheap, and he's kind of like turning the whole science world upside down, going, you don't need expensive dyes and ways of doing things. We can just make a few tweaks, and he's breaking this research through his book. So lots of different packages that you can go and fund. They do get quite pricey. If you're a company and you want to fund this and be a founding member, then so be it. But the package that I'm going to be backing myself personally, because I feel like I want the physical book with his signature. And I want 1 year's access to the R database. And I know it also includes the course, but I've already done the course. So that doesn't matter, but it's about $150 AU. So these two packages, and maybe even this one here, is probably where we kind of should be supporting Matt's project. So I encourage you to go out there and click the link that's around this video and support his project on that one. So really, really exciting. I was going to do it live, but I just think it's a bit boring for people watching me fill out forms. But I will upload a screenshot of my support straight after this video, because I've held off because I wanted to do it together. But I think it might be best if I do it in my own time and then get that going. So these are a new weekly kind of things that I want to do. It's called, at the moment, this week's Regen Recap. Give me a funny name. Give me a clever name. Help me label whatever this is going to be and what it looks like. Leave comments under this video, wherever it is. It's on multiple platforms. So looking forward to constantly giving you an update. One of the things that is on top of people's mind at the moment is the foot and mouth kind of disease. It's kind of happening across the barley sector. And I attended a webinar last night thanks to Victorian Farmers Foundation. There was like thousands of people who registered. They had to like wait 10 minutes for everyone to kind of come into the webinar because it was just overloaded. And that was a sign that, this is something really serious. And while I had everyone's attention, I thought, why not share one of the slides that I got to see last night, which is basically a hotline. There's a 1-800 number there that you can ring. But I think the most important thing was that, in order for us to be prepared with foot and mouth, we all need to kind of be alert and be able to be responsible for our actions. Every little thing that we do matters. An outbreak here in Australia would be very, 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 very disappointing, and it will put a lot of people's livelihoods at risk. And, if we think $12 lettuce at the moment is an issue, then whatever happens from this would be very, very 10x, I would think. So just be mindful of that. The other fun thing that's happening this week, or this weekend actually, and I have massive FOMO that I'm not able to attend, is the RCS conference up in Brisbane. So if you are going along, I've got a goodie that you can listen to on your way there. But first off, I wanted to give a big shout out to the RCS conference. I'm not sure if you can still get tickets. It starts in 18 hours. I would think that's very close to the mark, but I think you can still buy tickets. But an amazing lineup of speakers that are going to be here at this conference. Lots of people that I know are going there, and I think it's going to be a great space to kind of network and see the speakers. I 100% will be buying the replay if it's available. But Zach Bush is going to be there. I'm not sure if he's joining in person or via satellite link. But anytime you get to have the ability to hang out with Dr. Zach Bush is absolutely amazing. The worlds of wisdom that he can speak to, and his experience and background is just amazing. So RCS conference is on this weekend, and I had the absolute pleasure of interviewing Terry McCosker this week, and we fast-tracked this episode through so that way when you're on your way to the RCS conference, you can get in the mood and understand a little bit more about Terry and his background. And I have to say, I could not stop listening to this episode when I was reviewing it, when I create little edit markers of content that we can turn into mini bite-sized bits of information. The whole interview is just full of these little snippets and markers. So again, link is around this video for you to go and check out the podcast. Otherwise, it's soillearningcenter.com/pod, and that'll take you to this page here. And you can listen to it on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, any podcast player that you have that you use. If you search Secrets of the Soil, you will come up and find this green little image. You will be able to listen to this conversation and 38 others before Terry's. So lots of amazing content. And Terry, just go listen to it. And if you don't think that was the best interview you've ever heard, then let me know, and I'll have to lift my game up, I guess. But it was just really, really great, and super exciting to be able to interview Terry just leading up to their RCS conference. So that was super fun. What else did I have on my agenda today? So I want to talk about how exciting everyone is about microscopes, and I've already spoken about Matt Powers and what he's doing. Totally go and check out that Kickstarter. So I want to kind of like help him get to like a 3x on that. And that's why I said to him this morning, I'm going to make a live video about your thing. And I've been wanting to back it since it started. So we'll do that. So, but the other thing is we started our own little microscope study group this week. And that was really exciting to see how everyone's coming into our Zoom rooms and talking about microscopes, and really excited about buying their first microscope or lending one and starting to see the world under the microscope. And I think that's what's really important, is that we've got more people wanting to understand how microscopes work. And what we did is we created a study group, because what I found is that many times when I've done content and online courses is if I don't have a group of people that I do it with, it tends to get overwhelming, and it's something that we do later. So we put together this kind of study group that we meet once a week, and it's every Tuesday. And so we've just done our first lesson, which is kind of like a getting started, how the system works. So it doesn't matter that you've missed that. If you still want to get in, message me on my messenger link, which is also in the links, and have a chat and just say you want to still be let in, and I can share details on how you can get in. You're not too far behind. In fact, this is still a perfect time to come into that study group and learn about microscopes together. There is a fee, and there's a couple of options that we can chat about depending about where you're at with your microscope journey. I've got a lot of people who have bought courses in the past, but they've just never done anything with it. And I want to create that accountability group. And so that way, even myself, got the microscope here set up, want to get it, used and then eventually adding data to Matt Powers' database also starts with M is mushrooms. So we are at the moment Milkwood permaculture mushroom course. So that is with Milkwood, and that happens to be the guest before that. So after you listen to Terry, feel free to listen to Nick from Milkwood, and we take a deep dive into the world of mushrooms. And a lot of people are wanting to learn how to grow mushrooms at home in different things. And the thing I love about Milkwood's course, and one of the questions that came up the other day as well, is like the amount of waste that happens in mushroom growing, especially plastic and things like that. Milkwood have got a very conscious awareness of that, and their courses are all designed in order for you to have a minimal waste when it comes to growing mushrooms. And if you are using a bucket, you're encouraging people to go and upcycle or go to cafes and remove things that would normally go to landfill. And even recycling plastic creates massive amounts of energy load. So, creating a housing for mushrooms that keeps on giving and giving and giving and giving beautiful mushrooms is definitely a best way of reusing that type of plastic. And so there is a link in this video to get 10% discount on Milkwood's course. It ends in I think 3 days or 4, maybe 5 days. It's on the 20th that you can no longer register, and then the course kicks off on the 23rd or something. So you've got basically this weekend to kind of really think about it. I'm also doing that course, so I'm excited to do the course alongside our members and our community. And so if you do join, I'll get a little email to let me know that you have come on board, and I'm really excited to do the mushroom course with everyone, because that is something that I'm getting very fascinated in, with the use of all these mushrooms in my background. The more I learn about mushrooms, I was just trying to think if I had a book here, but I don't, it's at home. But, learning more about mushrooms and their powerfulness in many different ways, whether it be medicinal or just, good fuel for human consumption. And then there's the psychedelic side of things as well. But really, really fun to learn how to grow mushrooms and get better at foraging and being able to go out and see mushrooms and identify and things like that. So wanted to make sure that you are aware of that. And then I think that's all I really wanted to cover off. I've spoken about the foot and mouth disease, which I think should really be a top of mind of everyone at the moment. RCS conference, Terry McCoskey's interview, by far mind-blowing, his experience and his honesty about the industry and what he's witnessed with his own eyes and heart and head over those many, many decades. And I guess if you want to chat to me, my messenger link is in this description as well. I'm very open at the moment to just having really good conversations with everyone on Messenger. I'm finding I'm very flooded in emails and it's taking me weeks to get back to everyone. But on Messenger, I can get back to people really quick. And I wanted to create a way that people can ask me questions and get some support in their regenerative soil and transition and journey. And then if you like to support more of these kind of videos and even the podcast, I did start a Patreon just last month, and the Patreon link is also there. That website is secretsofthesoil.com/support. We're in the process of building a dedicated website for the podcast, Secrets of the Soil. But at the moment, that's the link that does work, and it's clickable in the description. If you feel generous, it's $7 a month. It helps me keep creating this amazing content, and especially the podcast. It's something that there's a lot of moving parts and can be a lot of energy, but it just fills up my cup. And I want everyone who is a Patreon member to get access to bonus behind the scenes content, early access to the conversations, and we will get better at moving some of the stuff into the Patreon. At the moment, it's new, and I'm just exploring that. And it came from the community as an idea of something that a lot of creators in this space, whether it be on YouTube or podcasters, have a raving fan community on Patreon. And I thought, well, I love that idea, and I want to see if anyone wants to come along. And we've already got about 7 or 8 members, and I write your name up on a little piece of paper and I put it up on my wall over there, and that's like the garden of life. And my idea is to get that to 20, and that'll become the first 20 founding Patreon members. And I have a laser engraving device getting delivered soon, and I want to create like a little plaque and pop that up. So that's my ideas there. I've never even kind of shared that before, but that's what I'm working on in the background. So let me know, do you vibe these kind of videos where we're just talking a little bit about more topical stuff, what's happening in this space of regen? I know at the moment everything's moving very fast. I can barely keep up. There's lots of stuff kind of coming left, right, and center. Exciting to be part of a space and an industry that is moving like this, because I think finally, after many, many decades, people, and as Terry spoke about in the podcast, he's been here very early where people were telling him he's the crazy person in the room. And now they're asking him, how do you do it? And I always love that quote, that first they'll call you crazy and then they'll ask you how you did it. And I've had many of those conversations this week where, or lately actually, where people are saying, it takes a lot to kind of stick at this when people are calling you the crazy one. So kudos to everyone who's kind of stuck at it. Helen and Hugo from Farming Secrets also that as well. And so on that note, if there's anyone, feel free to put comments below what you'd like this kind of segment to be called. I want to kind of keep them to, half an hour live streams where we just kind of recap what's been happening throughout the week. And, this is community driven. So share links in the chats and I can pick them up and see, food security and inflation is a massive concern at the moment, and everyone's not really sure about what the future landscape looks like. And I think this is a time in life where we can take ownership of what we're doing and how we're living, and we can make small adjustments, whether it be growing mushrooms, whether it be being more conscious consumers when at the checkout and buying things that are supporting more locally grown food and produce, and knowing the farmer or knowing the grower or the producer. I think that's a signal that I'm seeing across the field, where everyone is really talking about now, wanting to know that they're doing a positive impact kind of transaction. And yes, it might cost a little bit more, but they know that the ripple effect and the quality of that food is much better. And so I think it is very much about the food journey and the connectivityness that we have to our food that is becoming more and more predominant. And I've seen that with everyone that I'm talking to, and people are rolling up their sleeves and getting their hands dirty and making actions, even if it is going to support a local community group or a community garden on the weekends or whenever they have their little working bees. the more you get out there, and I'm a big believer of biodiversity of people and, biodiversity of human spirit, being out there to connect with different people, we can solve these problems. That's why I love what Matt's working on with his crowdsourced database, where everyone's going to be able to add their little kind of 2 cents. And together we're going to be able to zoom out and join the dots. You might not have the scientific mind to research that particular kind of field, but you can be a data collector. And so you put some soil under a microscope on the other side of the world, you take a photo of it and you upload it to this database, and then everyone says, oh my God, you've just captured this particular fungi. We didn't know that it existed in that part of the world. And then people can dig deeper and they can say, well, what soil's like around you? And can you give us a soil profile? Can you do some extra tests? And I think that crowdsourcing of data and being able to put it on a platform that everyone has access to is just another step forward in decentralizing. It's not research that's locked behind closed doors that needs to get, you don't have to pay to get kind of access to these studies. It's open source studies. And so if we want to bring more trust, I guess, to these fields and know who's funding what, and it's crowd-funded, and there's no kind of hidden agenda, I think that's kind of going to be a real magical space. So yeah, I think the Kickstarter, you got 24 hours or 48 hours maybe to support that. Go and check it out. And I'm going to put a post up in all our Facebook and social media soon to say that I've backed it, because I definitely believe and I want to put my money where my mouth is. And yeah, so that's really exciting. And then the next call to action is really to come along and have fun with us on our own microscope course, or the mushroom course. So I don't care where you hang out, whether it's mushrooms or microscopes, come and hang out with me over the next couple of months, because I'll be in both of those areas. So really excited to keep getting people more interested into this wonderful world of soil and what's beneath our feet. All right, everyone, I think that's enough from me. This is the first of many. Hopefully you like it. Fridays are kind of like my unpacking day, so I just kind of have all my tabs open, and that's